Today, we're counting down the 5 Seattle area neighborhoods and suburbs where home prices are rising fastest across the greater Seattle region. And the number 1 spot lands in a place many buyers overlook until they study the map. For this countdown, the focus is year-over-year home value momentum, with Zillow's 2026 numbers guiding the ranking. We're using neighborhood in the broad Seattle search sense. City districts, ferry-connected communities, and suburbs that all sit inside the same regional housing conversation. That matters for investor strategy, because some of the fastest movement is happening outside the places people usually name first. Number 5 is Bremerton, across Puget Sound on the Kitsap Peninsula. Bremerton is the largest city on the Kitsap Peninsula, with a 2021 estimate of 44,122 residents, and it has long been tied to the waterfront, ferries, and naval activity. Zillow's 2026 numbers place Bremerton among the greater Seattle area's fastest rising home value markets, with a typical home value of $396,676. Walk Score gives Bremerton an 80 in 2026, which adds another practical signal for buyers comparing daily convenience with price momentum. What makes Bremerton especially interesting is the combination of regional connection and relative pricing, compared with several higher-cost Seattle area markets. It is not a central Seattle neighborhood, but it is part of the real housing map for people watching Puget Sound communities. When prices rise quickly in a place like this, it can suggest attention shifting toward areas with waterfront identity, ferry access, and room for more value movement. That is why Bremerton opens the countdown, but it does not stay alone for long. Number 4 is Sumner, in northern Pierce County. Sumner had a 2020 census population of 10,621, giving it a smaller city profile, while still sitting within the broader Seattle-Tacoma housing orbit. Zillow's 2026 figures put Sumner among the fastest rising home value areas in the region, with a typical home value of $610,928. Walk Score gives Sumner an 83 in 2026, the highest walk score in this top 5, which helps explain why its compact streets and local commercial core stand out. For investor strategy, Sumner is a different kind of play from the ferry-linked communities. It is not selling the island or harbor story. It is showing momentum from an inland Pierce County location with a recognizable town center and regional access. That contrast is important because fast-rising prices are not always concentrated in the same style of place. Sumner's appearance at number 4 shows that the greater Seattle price story spreads through multiple submarkets, not just the neighborhoods closest to downtown Seattle. Number 3 is Gig Harbor, the Pierce County city and bay on Puget Sound. Gig Harbor is both the name of the water and the city on its shore, with a 2020 census population of 12,029. Zillow's 2026 numbers place Gig Harbor among the fastest rising home value markets around Greater Seattle, with a typical home value of $869,890. Walk Score gives Gig Harbor a 58 in 2026, which reflects a more spread-out pattern than Sumner or Bremerton. Gig Harbor's price movement is tied to a very clear place identity, shoreline, harbor views, and a recognizable waterfront setting. In a ranking about fast-rising values, that kind of place identity matters because it gives the market a specific story beyond just being near Seattle. Buyers and investors often compare Gig Harbor against other Puget Sound communities, and its typical home value shows it is operating in a higher price tier than the first 2 entries. At number 3, it signals that waterfront character remains a powerful force in the regional market. Number 2 is Bainbridge Island, a city and island located in Puget Sound. It is one of the most recognizable ferry-connected communities in the Seattle area, and its geography alone gives it a distinct housing profile. Zillow's 2026 figures put Bainbridge Island among the region's fastest-rising home value markets, with a typical home value of $1,187,471. Walk Score gives Bainbridge Island a 26 in 2026, which makes the price momentum especially notable because the appeal here is not built around dense urban walkability. Bainbridge Island is the highest priced entry, but it is not the number 1 riser here. That distinction matters In many markets, people assume the most expensive place automatically leads every growth ranking. But price level and price momentum are not the same thing. Bainbridge earns the number 2 spot because its home values are moving fast, while already sitting in a very elevated tier for the greater Seattle region. And number 1 is Poulsbo, pronounced Poulsbo, on Liberty Bay in Kitsap County. Poulsbo is the smallest of the 4 cities in Kitsap County, and its location on the bay gives it a waterfront identity without being one of the names people always guess first. Zillow's 2026 numbers place Poulsbo among the fastest rising home value markets in the greater Seattle area, with a typical home value of $671,765. Walk Score gives Poulsbo a 76 in 2026, adding a practical neighborhood center signal to its strong price movement. Poulsbo taking the top spot is the twist. It is not the highest priced community here, and it is not a Seattle City neighborhood in the narrow sense, but it sits right in the path of attention, moving across Kitsap County and the wider Puget Sound market. For investor strategy, that is the key lesson. The fastest rising places are not always the ones with the biggest name recognition. Poulsbo wins because its current price momentum stands out, while still carrying a distinct Liberty Bay setting. So the final ranking is Bremerton at number 5, Sumner at number 4, Gig Harbor at number 3, Bainbridge Island at number 2, and Poulsbo at number 1. The bigger takeaway is that the greater Seattle housing market is not just a Seattle City story. It is also a Kitsap, Pierce County, Ferry, Harbor, and small city story. When prices rise fastest in places like these, it shows how regional demand can move in unexpected directions. What did we miss? Which Seattle area neighborhood, suburb, or waterfront spot would have made your personal top 5? And which one would you rank higher? If this breakdown helped, tap the like button and subscribe for more Seattle neighborhood deep dives without the hype. Every number in this video is sourced, and you'll find the links in the description. And tell me what you want next. A closer look at Kitsap County, Pierce County, Ferry communities, or another Seattle area price trend.